everyone. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I hope you're doing great. Here we are. We're in the spiritual cleanup portion of the retrograde cycle. With both Jupiter and Neptune retrograding in Pisces together, we're going to start seeing those things that want to be cleaned up spiritually, right? So we can experience trauma on every level, including the spiritual level. And one of the things that I've seen happening when it comes to spiritual trauma is just this feeling that the spiritual trauma may look like everything is dark. There is no light. Everything's falling apart. It's a disaster. It's not working. And that's a form of spiritual trauma. And what I want to say, if that's something that you're feeling at this time, is that remember, when you can't see the light, it's because you are the light. You're the light. And, this made me, when I talked about this with someone recently, it made sense. Then what came up is this feeling of, I thought the higher path, the higher timeline, the positive polarity was the easier path. And the truth is, it's not. And neither is the darkest path, right? Actually, when you look at the polar extremes, and this information is coming from, again, the law of one that I like to study. When you look at the two extremes of the poles, so we've got positive polarity and negative polarity, and then we have the spectrum. The more extreme you go in your polarity in either direction, the more difficult the path becomes, because it is a purification and intensifying of that particular energy. So the higher you go, the more into the light you go, the more concentrated and refined the energy becomes, and it burns away all that is not a match. Just as if you were to go into the negative polarity, the further you go in, you must strip away all that does not match that extreme in polarity. And so this idea of the light being easy, that's a little bit of a misnomer. If you want to know where the easy path is, it's right in the middle. That's where the ease is. However, there's no real power in the middle path, like the neutralizing path. And I'm not talking about the middle path the way that Buddha talks about the middle path, where you don't have to push yourself to either extreme to find peace. It's not the same middle. The middle path, in terms of polarities, is a path of non-choice, right? So imagine, I feel like most people who watch this are already like they're polarizing positive. Otherwise, this information really doesn't sit with you. Either it's not interesting, or it just sounds bogus or like BS, right? So I feel like most of the audience watching this, that means you're already polarizing in a positive direction. You're already moving that way. When we're sitting in the middle, we have not chosen a polarity, not consciously. We are not really choosing, and those who sit in the middle tend to feel like they're at the whim of the world, right? Things just happen to them. They have no power or control over it. It's just happening. Things are arbitrary. Sometimes they get what they want. Sometimes they don't get what they want. It's all random. That's how it feels in the middle. When you move to either extreme, either the extreme positive or the extreme negative, you actually start to feel your power and sovereignty. These are the beings who start to know that, yes, indeed, I actually am a creator being, and I'm creating. I have a part to play in this reality, and anything that's in my personal reality is being created by me. However, so when we move to these extremes, they tend to be more challenging, because you can move in a certain direction and you start to feel your power, but you also get, like I said, there's a refinement that happens. Things get stripped away. You can only use that power to the level to which you have, acclimated to that polarity and are facing the challenges of going into a pure direction, right? Moving purely into the positive or purely into the negative. So it's not necessarily an easy path. And I know that's something that we get tricked into believing. This is actually part of that control matrix structure. And the idea of the control matrix structure, it was to control you. And so therefore, the desire is to keep you in the middle, not polarizing anywhere. Because if you go positive or negative, you have power. If you're in middle, you are neutralized, right? You are neutralized. There is no power in that middle place. And so the control structure was all about telling you life is easy. This is easy. You should have ease. You should have convenience. You should have it instantly. You should be mollified and sedated, and we'll take care of it for you while you just sit there, right? That's neutralizing your energy. So this idea that life should be easy, that's a trick, and it's meant to neutralize. The idea that life should be fair is also a trick and meant to neutralize, right? And this is something that we've all fallen into this trap. I know I hung out there for a while. I know children, as children, we've all said, that's not fair, right? We always have this feeling of an injustice or imbalance. But the truth is, fairness is so subjective, right? Not everybody has, think about food, right? Milk, for example. Some people can tolerate it, some people can't. Is that fair? No. What's fair? Some people can, some people can't. Some people have a tremendous amount of physical energy, some don't. Right? Some people are highly intelligent, others not so much. Some people are very talented, some people have moderate talent. Some people have no talent, but then develop talent and study and gain talent. So do you see what I mean when I say that this idea of fair is a false construct? And it, again, is meant to keep you neutralized. So all of this is coming up as awareness in this spiritual healing cycle, is to look at where things feel out of balance spiritually. What beliefs are you holding on to spiritually? What do you believe about your own spiritual path? Do you find that you're, adhering to the path of the light, believing that the lighter and more conscientious and giving of yourself you become, the easier life should be? And you might find yourself heavily disappointed when it doesn't match that perspective. This is meant to come forward at this time so that we may all do any cleanup that is presenting itself. So I wanted to put that out there just to give you that awareness that if these things are being triggered, it's part of the process, and you're doing a great job. And just to go back really quick to the idea that the either extreme of polarity, whichever way anyone goes, it's not easy, right? So the idea of ease is not necessarily associated with increasing your light. In fact, if you think about people who made great change on this planet in the past, did their lives look easy? No, they did not. In fact, many of them struggled. Many of them had pushback on them, resistance to them, even anger put towards them for what they were doing, creating that higher energy. And remember what I said, when you can't see the light, it means you are the light. So the more you allow yourself to fully shine in your power, it may not be easy, and you might not even feel the light around you, but you are that source of light. Now I want to talk about alignment with the universe. So when we do these karma cards, I often talk about planetary alignments. I try to tell you what's coming up and what's going on so that you understand what the messages from the cosmos or the blueprint they're giving us all. And I've always felt like I've just naturally understood, like these are instructions. It's a helpful hint. It's telling us the easiest path. Notice I'm not saying it's easy, but easier when you understand the flow of the universe. Today I learned the root word of two words, and it's blowing my mind, because these two words, the words are disaster and catastrophe. Disaster and catastrophe. I learned their Latin roots, what they mean. And it's blowing my mind because it helps you understand why you want to pay attention to what the cosmos is saying. Disaster literally means, in Latin, against the stars. Dis means against, aster, the stars. Catastrophe also means against the stars. Cat against, astroph, the stars. Against the stars. So disaster and catastrophe are two things that can be avoided if you learn to get into the cosmic flow. And that is my intention with doing these every week, is to help us all pay attention to those bigger messages, find out what the overarching umbrella themes are, and try to flow with them as best we can so that we can avoid catastrophe and disaster in our personal lives. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I thought, wow, that is so freaking cool that there it is. It's right in front of our faces. I really hope that the opportunity to learn Latin comes back on a mass scale, or that we bring it back. Let's bring back origins of language, because the truth is hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of our face. And if we just know what we're looking at, it teaches us so much. All right, now let's do karma cards. For those of you who are new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how this works. I have 3 decks here, the planets, signs of the zodiac, and houses of astrology, and I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And they've given me 2 answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome. And all you have to do to play is take a moment to tune in intuitively and decide, what do you need right now? Do you need action related answers, or do you want outcome related answers? And of course, you can always choose both. While you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for July 1st through July 8th, 2021. The flavor of this reading, we have Mars, again, second time Mars is showing up, so we know we've got some desire/action oriented information coming in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is where the sun currently is right now. That makes a lot of sense to me. And the 4th house, which is ruled by Cancer. So there's a lot of Cancerian energy. The 4th house has to do with our roots, our past, our family, our mother, and our intuition. All of that's connected in there. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time, energize your feelings as you did in the past. Energize your feelings as you did in the past. This is the message of emotional intelligence. Get in touch with your feelings about how you're feeling things. You need to, right? In order to heal anything, you have to face how you feel. You've got to feel it to heal it. Mental action. Confront attitudes from the past about your home base or family. So this is asking us to go within and look at what's our point of view from the past about how we grew up, about our family, about our home base. The reason why we want to look at what it is from the past is because many times we bring stories forward with us that aren't necessarily our truth. We have a tendency to not be in the present with what's going on, but carry forward the story about what our experience was, what our place is in the family, who our family is, and our experience of it. It's like a tape we keep playing over and over. Part of the spiritual healing is to simply acknowledge and recognize and face the story that we tell. Right? That's the first step, and that's all they're asking right now is pay attention. What do you think? What's your story that you keep bringing forward? Physical action at this time. Force yourself to use your intuition and do what makes you feel secure. Mars, when it's negative, has a tendency to bulldoze. So the force yourself comes from that. I think it just they're asking us to strongly do this now. So I've said in the past on karma cards that as we move forward in time, the truth will become more confusing if you're seeking it from the external world. Misinformation, disinformation, flat out lies, all mixing together with the truth is happening more and more all the time. It's going to really be hard to suss it out. if you're expecting the outside world to give you the truth, you are going to be waiting for a long time, or you're going to be led down a lot of dead ends, right? A lot of dead ends is the best way to say that. So force yourself to use your intuition. Take the time to sit with yourself and go within. Doing this is going to create that sense of security. I've said it many times, we all need to cultivate a new sense of what creates security. If you're putting security in the external world, whether it's in your money or your home or your relationships to others, these are all things that can be taken away from you because it lives outside of you. When you figure out how to internalize safety and security, this cannot be taken from you, right? So utilizing your intuition gives you a sense of security and gives you access to the higher truth. It allows you to see above the fog and see clearly the whole playing field. So they're saying, make an effort to do this. Like, take it seriously, make the effort, go ahead, do that now, because this wants you to do it now, okay? For those choosing outcomes in Mars in Cancer in the 4th house of family in the past, your spiritual outcome at this time, the drive for intuition to protect what makes you feel secure. Okay, so now and what they're saying is, so first they were like, you've got to do this, you've got to make this a priority. And they're saying that the natural outcome is a drive, which means you want to make it a priority so that you can feel secure. The beauty here is you do the action, you follow the step, and you get more motivated to do it again. You're going to feel the result. I mean, I feel like they're trying to say that taking this action right now has a pretty quick acting result if within the same week it kind of creates its own energy, right? So I feel like it's a quick acting. Take the time, use your intuition, create that sense of internal security. You're going to get it. The cookie is coming if you do that work. Mental outcome at this time, the confronting of attitudes from the past about support. So again, now we're going to be spiritually looking at what we believe support is. And we're going to look at that. Well, if the outside world can give and take, and I believed that support came from the outside, maybe it's time I got to look at what support is and rediscover where's support internally. Do I have internal support? Yes, you do. It's called your team. It's your team in spirit. Yes, you do. You were not put here on this crazy planet without a support team. You have 24/7 spiritual tech support, as I like to call it. 24/7, right here, right now, with you, even in your darkest, most alone moments, they're with you. And I just got a bing on that one. Thanks, team. Your physical outcome at this time, action resulting from the history of your home or base or family. So as you confront the stories of what you believe your past is and or how you look at your family, and are you dragging those stories around as you confront your attitudes about support, you will most likely see some things and go, that was very disempowering of me, or I keep playing this out. No wonder I have the same experience and the same pattern, and the dynamics never shift. Interesting. Okay, I'm deleting this now. I'm editing this out. This part has to go because I don't even like it, and I didn't realize that I had to keep, that I was the one that kept activating this when I don't like it. So why am I doing that? I'm not going to do it anymore. You see what I'm getting at here? You're naturally, as you go inward, realize your sense of security is yours, and support is always within you, even when you feel like you don't have it around you. It's going to naturally get you to take actions, to make adjustments in how you're experiencing life, because this is a spiritual cleanup time, and you want things to feel better. And a lot of times things can feel better when we simply change our perspective on how we're looking at something. If we're constantly expecting someone else to clean up their act, we're going to wait forever. That day may never come. But if we let go of our expectation of that person and start accepting them and loving them for who they are, well, we can actually see a whole nother side of this person. Any person, right? Even yourself. If you do this for yourself, if you let go of the story you tell about yourself and you recognize that some aspects of yourself, they're there. Why don't you just start loving them now, right? What would love do if I chose to love more of myself? What if I chose to love more of other people? Would that make a change? Yes. Does it mean they're changing? Not necessarily. But you are. And that's where you have the power. And so with that, I hope that you have a beautiful week. I love you so much. Thank you for being on this journey with me. And I can't wait to see you next week. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.